Luke, the amazing commentator himself.
Hello everyone, hope you've all had a good start to the new year.
And I'm Brett, I'm not ill, again. Belgium sucked. Monza, I was better, and I'm feeling even better today, so I'm excited. I feel like it's going to be a good race, very strategic, you have to be around here, as it's a kind of a one lap. If you have 1 lap to try and make an overtake, and if you don't do it in that lap, you have to take another 2 laps off to get the car back in shape.
Yes, Singapore's definitely famous for cooking the tyres around this circuit. Rear tyres especially, you've got to be careful. Lots of twisty corners putting the power down, and especially with these modern Pirelli tyres, once you start heating them up, getting them outside of their optimum operating window is a nightmare to try and recover them while keeping any decent pace.
It's I mean, there's some people say Monaco's hard, but around here I think it's even more hard because it's basically each lap around here has to be a hot lap while managing the tyres. You've just got to wait for someone to make a mistake. I mean, no point battling. You need to be probably around a second and a bit quicker to get a full move done.
Yeah, not the easiest track to overtake on. There are of course a couple of DRS zones that do make it slightly easier. It's just you've got the 90-degree nature of a lot of the corners around here, so that means battles can go on quite a while. We saw in 2018, was it, where Sergio Perez just could not get past Sergei Sirotkin and ended up hitting the Russian when Sirotkin did a fantastic job of defending from him, and that is because it is so tough to pass around this circuit. 23 corners. It is the longest race on the calendar time-wise. Quite often you see it reach the 2-hour mark if there's a safety car, so the drivers will all have to concentrate tonight because it will be their longest race of the season as well.
I mean, it's one of these tracks where you've got to keep a mature head. You can't go for any drastic moves because around here it's about the long game. If you try and play the short game, you're not gonna get anywhere.
Yeah, patience, all important as always. There has been a few changes to drivers and which teams they are in as we approach the final third of the season. Liam is no longer in the Red Bull. He's decided to have a change once again. He is now in the Haas. EBR Sam T, he has taken the seat in the Red Bull. He has moved from the Alfa Romeo. We have 2 new drivers, UK Coxey and AB53. They are in the Alfa Romeos.
Yeah, a lot of the drivers on the waiting list for one hub in. It's good to see some new faces. Sadly though, championship contender Aaron has had to leave us due to, I think it was work times, which, I mean, that's sad because now it's really just a one-man title fight. There's nobody, unless Zeppedo can step up the pace again, but at the moment I don't think he's even here.
Yeah, Nexus did look extremely quick in the last few races where I commentated on, showing some extreme pace. You can just see that 5 wins now this season out of a possible 14. He would have had a 14-point lead in the championship over Aaron, but of course with Aaron pulling out, he's now got a huge 87-point gap over Estimat. So it's more than 3 race wins. It is going to be extremely tough for anyone to stop him. But stranger things have happened. A couple of retirements, especially a circuit like this, Singapore, very twisted, barriers close by. Final sector of Russia as well, where we are next week, that has some barriers.
I mean,
stranger things have happened.
Next race, man. The start of the season, the main reason he didn't or wasn't challenging anyone, I said that he would. He was lagging out of session, so if that could possibly come back to haunt him at this point, that would not be great. And I mean, I know a lot of people that is sitting there for the taking. It's not like people aren't quick enough in this tier for him. I know Azimatter can keep up with him, and Riley on a good day, even... Oh, Foggy's here today, that's good. Foggy's not been here for a while. Well, Aaron was his main contender, as they were kind of going back and forth in the win, but Zeppedo was one of the guys that was dominating the start of the season, and it just kind of went off the pace.
Yeah, he really Ammon's main contender at the start of the season. I know Ivan, who's not here at the moment, he's shown some good pace in the last couple of races, but Iceman's just generally looked for quickest at the moment. Ammon was consistent, but he's not there. Foggy, he's been a bit hit and miss, but when he's showing the pace, he's definitely one who could challenge, so he'll be hoping that he can try and get further up in the championship, one of our race premium drivers. We'll just have a quick look through some of the championship standings. So it's Nexus, 214 points in the lead. Estimates will now be second, with Ivan just a further point behind. Then Zeppadoodle on 118 points, Eva Hannon on 110. Some of our race premium drivers at one hub, you've got Gazaman currently 10th on 58, Foggy 11th on 54, and then Boris has 11 points, Charlie said that has 2, and Thunder Phoenix still on 0. Mercedes having a very slim lead in the Constructors' Championship, just 5 points ahead of Ferrari at the moment.
No. Who has taken the Ferrari seat? Has anyone?
I believe it's Ivan. I believe Ivan has replaced Aaron in the Ferrari.
Well, that's not actually that bad because Ivan has the pace.
Yeah, it does. I mean, they are pretty consistent. Ivan was 4th in the championship in the Haas, so it's a good replacement. It should be a good second half of the season, Constructors' Championship wise. McLaren, not too far off if we're being honest. They're only 70 points off the lead, and 43 is the most you can get in one weekend. They still have a chance, you'd feel, but only estimates here for them tonight at the moment. And Overhanen, the only Ferrari driver at the moment, so it's going to be tough tonight for them to reel in that lead of the Mercedes.
But I was going to say, make sure if you haven't already, well, by the end of the night, go check out the behind the scenes part 2. Jess hosted it with, I think it was Nick in part 2 as well. I want to say as I've not watched it, I was watching some of it there. Very cool to see everything that happens at One Hub and some of the stuff that even us commentators don't get to see. Very, very good. I'm really enjoying it at the moment.
I mean, I generally don't know what's happening most of the time, but it is always good to get an insight into how these leagues are run. I know Nick does put a lot of work in, as does Jess, trying to sort out all the commentary side of things. Hopefully we should be getting underway anytime soon. Only 14 drivers though, which a bit of a shame. Maybe they're all still suffering from hangovers from New Year's Day.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Now, how are you feeling about your race tonight, Brett? Is there any parts of the track where you feel are most important for a driver to try and get a good lap time, especially in qualifying?
That second sector, the second to the last sector. First sector it's quite easy. There's a lot of corners you can exceed on, but sector 2 very important. The exit of the hairpin especially. I mean, I'm losing about 3 tenths in the exit there because you have to double shift. I mean, I'm learning it now, but I mean, that's how much time can be gained around here, and it's insane. I was sitting in time trial there, and I was gonna set a really good time trial lap, and the final corner got me. So it's one of them things where you've literally just got to get a lucky lap round here.
Yeah, track limits oh so important around here, especially around that final corner, the middle sector, where you're likely to have overheated the tyres during that point, leading on to the final sector, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I mean, 90 degree corner after 90 degree corner. It's just about hanging on until the end of the lap, really, at that point. I'm
sure we're going to see a lot of people hitting the barriers in that third sector, as it is one of the most challenging parts on the circuit.
Yeah, and of course, where there's barrier hits, there's always the risk of a virtual or a full safety car, so maybe that could spice things up in the order slightly. I might be alone in saying this, but I do miss the Singapore Sling chicane, what is now just turn 10. I did quite enjoy that bit fiddly left, right, left. It was Kimi Raikkonen in the first year of the Singapore Grand Prix, got it completely wrong and went flying into the barriers, and I think there were a few more drivers who took off there, which is probably part of the reason why they got rid of it, but it was spectacular to watch F1 cars trying to change direction as fast as possible there. It's just a simple left-hander there now, and if you are pretty good around that section and through 11 and 12, you can sneak a run into turn 13 before the second DRS zone, which was, I believe, was new for 2019.
I mean, I didn't really watch F1 too much at that point, as at that point I would only been 5. So.
Well, I feel old.
Well, I mean, I feel. I mean, now watching it back, of course, I think it would have been amazing to have in the games. I think it would have been really fun for the cars to go around that at high speed.
Yeah, it's definitely a track that I enjoyed driving around. Just waiting now for the drivers to get ready. Only 14 drivers, so that shouldn't be an issue for traffic, and it is a fairly long lap actually around this Singapore Grand Prix circuit. Just over 5 kilometres, as I mentioned, 23 corners. Lap record in Formula 1 actually being held by Kevin Magnussen, who set fastest lap here 2 years in a row. As I say, that overdrive is beginning to get ready, so we should be with you soon for the first qualifying in one hub of 2020. Any predictions for Paul, Brett?
I'm going to say I'm seeing as a matter. I feel like he's going to be a surprise. Taz.
Well, I'm not going to go for a surprise. I'm going to be very predictable and go for his teammate. I think Nexus was just going to start as he finished 2019 and just set a marker down and make it hard for anyone to beat him. Of course, if there's any wet weather, that could make things a whole lot more difficult. Just ask Sebastian Vettel what it's like trying to drive around here in the wet.
Right, let me put all the settings on. It is probably one of my favourite night tracks on the calendar. I mean, speaking of night tracks, would you like to see Malaysia come back as a night track?
I would definitely like to see Malaysia come back. It was, out of all the Tilka circuits, probably one of the favourites. Just suffered with people not really going, and that's always the issue with Formula 1. It's got to try and make commercial sense as well. That is why we have it in Singapore. It's a city location. Get lots of. It's almost a bit like Monaco, but in Asia and at night, with famous people and a lot of rich people around. A lot of tourists come to Singapore. Malaysia suffered. Sepang suffered from not really having too many people attend, and Turkey, another very good circuit, that just suffered from not enough people attending. But I think hopefully in the future Malaysia will be able to come back, although funnily enough the only reason they could afford to install all them floodlights at the Malaysian Grand Prix circuit is because they no longer had to pay for a Formula 1 race.
Well, I mean, it would be good to see Malaysia in the night, but I feel like we need a few more tracks at night. I mean, we have Monaco won the game that goes night, and I think that's a very cool feature. Could possibly work in real life.
That would be absolutely fantastic. Imagine a 24-hour race around Monaco.
But that would just be hellish.
If anyone from Liberty Media is watching, then that is when you're allowed to do double points, and that is the only situation. You do 24 hours around Monaco. And we always said that this Singapore Grand Prix is tricky, and it's going to be even trickier because according to Gazaman, our resident weatherman, it's going to be a dry to wet race. So, could see a few interesting strategies going on in this race.
Ah. Damn it. I mean, the race is going to be even longer now.
Oh, I think we will comfortably possibly hit the hour mark here. We'll have to wait and see. It's just dry to heavy rain, apparently. So this could well be a race where if you finish in the top 10. Just a reminder of the one-whole point system. Same as in real Formula 1, 25 for the winner, 18 for second. Down to 1 point for finishing in 10th place. The only difference being whoever sets the fastest lap outside the top 10 gets a point, as well as whoever sets it inside the top 10. Peter Parker on his first flying lap at the moment, just heading through the first DRS zone.
Well, one thing to mention is the best strategy around here is medium to hard. Going on these softs, they will blow up in the first 3 laps, really, and tyre temperature being around 105 degrees. So, really, getting 5 laps out of tyre isn't that great, and that forces you onto a 2-stop.
Yeah, we are seeing a lot of drivers on hard tyres at the moment. That could just be to get the first lap in. I know quite often a lot of drivers do tend to start qualifying on a tyre set harder than what they intend to qualify on. But maybe some drivers will try and make these hard tyres last, especially if it's going to start raining in the race, and just try and go straight from the tyres that they're starting on onto intermediates or possibly full wets.
Well, the medium strategy or tyre goes for about 13 laps maximum, and then that's when they really hit the cliff. The hard compound tyre can go from 18 to 21 in laps. That sets you up very nicely for the last few laps, going on to, well, the 31 laps of it. So from lap 20, 31. That is a 36.1 on the soft compound there. Pretty decent lap, of course, on the soft, but I don't think that is the best strategy moving forward. But I see what Force India might be doing, or Racing Point, sorry, might be doing is Riley is going for a different strategy, while Peter Parker is going for another strategy.
Yeah,
to maybe try and split things up.
There, coming through turn 13 and clipped the inside of the wall. Thankfully, hasn't done any damage, but he seems to have backed off this lap.
Yeah,
definitely seem to be splitting their strategies up.
Well, AB is setting a 41 flat on the hard compound. I mean, you're really wanting to be probably 39 in podium tier, and the 39s with the hard compound for quali.
Yeah, the middle sector is where, if you have, well, the middle sector and the final sector, I should say, if you've managed to control the tyre temperatures on those soft tyres, that is where they will give you all the benefit, especially that final sector, all the 90-degree corners. You'll just have so much more grip than those on the hard tyres.
If we can watch EVR Sam, he is the man. I've said, if you get a podium this race, I will send over an Iron Brew to his house from Scotland, as they can't get it where he lives. So,
is it a proper iron? Is it one of the Iron Brews in a glass bottle?
It depends. Depends what it's for sale. I think we should
say plus like the new Iron Brew if he gets a podium. But if he wins, I'd say it deserves the classic one.
Oh yeah. If he wins, he's getting the classic one in the glass bottle for sure. But
no pressure, Sam.
He's got to put the foot down. As somebody has spun there, and it is Daniel in the ass. I mean, I'm telling you, that thing is a nightmare. And that is one of the corners where it struggles the most, actually. Just on traction, when you come into it, it feels very as if you're floating on ice.
Yeah, and completely lost the front wing, so he will have to head back round to the pits. And you're only really going to get 2, possibly 3 chances here in qualifying. 6.5 minutes gone. It's Peter Parker, Foggy, Dazayek, AB, and Azamata. Only 5 drifts at a time at the moment. So
a few people. Oh my! Wait, what is that helmet? Oh, is that the Christmas helmet he's wearing? I think it is. Does that light up?
I mean, Sebastian Vettel had a light-up helmet here, I believe. Was it 2011 or 2012 when he went through that period where he pretty much changed helmets every race? I still believe he's single-handedly responsible for the FIA rule on helmets at the moment.
As a match in a 41.8 there, like I said, getting into the 40 is Dzik on the mediums. And the 39.2 on hard compound ST Mats and EVR Sam on. So like I said, EVR Sam is gunning for an Iron Brew here. So we'll have to keep an eye on him throughout the race. But as we move on to Foggy on the medium here, he's in his in lap now. I mean, setting the medium this early means that he's probably going to set a lap on the softs, which I just don't think is the right strategy. Especially when rain's coming, but maybe he just wants to find that full out pace in this first kind of stint of the race with the soft compound.
Yeah, possibly. If he does a pit stop early on, like you said, he's going to drop way down the back of the order, but maybe get a bit of free air, and who knows.
Well, can we discuss this for a second? The two Mercs.
How late it rains.
The two Mercs are on the hards right now. It's like a 38.1 and a 38.2. Well, Evianen is then around about 3 times to 4 times off the two Mercs, and then it's about a huge gap back down to Sam on the other hards. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot more time. You can set more than one lap on these hards. The only risk is that you might not be able to improve upon your lap.
Yeah, that was Azamat's second lap on those hard tyres. Now he's definitely found a bit more time. Iceman was his first, so great job from Azamat to do a 38.1 on a second run. So he's definitely kept those hard tyres in good condition, and it just shows the offset around this circuit. That Peter Parker, having set a time on those soft tyres a full 2 seconds faster than anyone else, unless anyone else goes onto the soft tyres, there's no way I can see him being headed in the final half of this session.
Well, Peter Parker is switching between the mediums, the hards, all the tyres at the moment, but I think he's left too late, and ST Mats hits the wall there, giving him end plate damage midway through his lap. That's really going to hinder him.
Yeah.
And that's him in validation.
Yeah, it looks like he's just fully bailed on this lap time now. He's got the Renault of Boris behind.
Let's watch Yuki Coxey in the Alfa Romeo, one of the new drivers, his debut race in Singapore. And, well, what a race to show up at, because it's a hard one to show off your pace, especially. So, if he can get a good result today, maybe top 5, then we could be seeing a possible driver, contender for podiums. As I think that's what we need, a bit more podiums, because I mean,
commentator's curse in action there.
Yep, I know. Damn it. So Riley By setting his lap on the soft here. He goes around turn, I want to say it's turn 4, making it down at the straight, hitting the kink on the right hander, and coming in, doesn't cut the corner like you really should, and he's backed out of the lap. Might have gotten validation there actually. Who else is out? Evianen's still out in the lap here, and backed out there as well, so nobody's on a lap.
Yeah, interesting that he backed out, because it did look as though he was a couple of attempts faster actually heading into that final point, so maybe he could have challenged Nexus and Azamata. Azamata's going out on the medium tyres, as is Iceman, so expect to see some improvements for them, but again, don't expect them to get too close to Peter Parker's time. Maybe into the high 136s at best, I'd imagine.
Now we should be expecting kind of the waiting games for all the teams, as it will become quite quiet, but Peter Parker has selected them hards again.
I mean, I don't see how he can possibly improve on his time from that. I don't know whether he was expecting more drivers to go out on the soft tyres. It says Foggy has currently selected the softs, but I'm surprised if he sticks with them. Well, he 2 or 3 laps, and then he'll probably have to head into the pits, or else he'll be a sitting duck.
You can maximise them to lap 8, but they are dying at that point, as Riley just did a burnout to the pits there. That was quite nice actually. Don't know why he done that, but it was a full-on burnout. So everybody in the pits.
Riley seemed to be spending most of that lap trying to find new ways of warming up his tyres. It's good stuff it's not the World Endurance Championship. He'll have earned himself a pretty hefty penalty there for burnouts in the pit lane. 6 minutes to go.
And AB is coming out
in the pits. AB just coming out, and it's Peter Parker, Azamata, Nexus Iceman, Eva Hannon, and Foggy, the top 5 at the moment.
So
2.5 seconds separating them.
What AB is doing here, and this is something I was discussing with one of my drivers actually, is would it be best to go out with about 5 minutes to go, just in case you ruin the medium lap, as it is a kind of one thing you have. I mean, these mediums feel horrible. That surprisingly, the best tyre around this track is actually the hard, because you can go flat out most of the race.
Yeah, also you've just got that free air at the moment, so you're not getting yourself caught up. Anyone who's ahead of him will be on an outlap, so will have to dive out of the way or face a possible penalty from the stewards. Just got to keep it clean, of course, and not overheat those tyres.
I mean, this is
1.0 at the moment.
As Boris is out on a lap. Marina coming out on his out lap. I mean, that what AB doesn't want is to be coming out the pits and people coming out of the pit lane.
You know, you don't want to catch him too early on.
Daniel left the session.
Catch him a bit unaware. Daniel's left the session. So AB 10th place at the moment. He's the last of the guys who will have to start on the tyres that he set his best lap on. 11th to 14th will get a free choice of tyres. At the moment it'd be Peter Parker starting on the softs and Foggy and Dezayek starting on the mediums, and then you'd imagine everyone else would go for the hards.
Now 2 people leaving the session. Right, so AB starts his lap. Is anyone coming out? No, it looks like he's got quite lucky. Oh, there is a McLaren of ST Max that is just ahead of him here, but he should move swiftly out the way as AB makes his way to turn 4, keeping it in overtake mode. Doesn't maximise the corner exit there, or the entry really, but is kind of just making sure he sets a lap rather than bottles one. Making his way down to turn 5.
A distant toe then as well from the McLaren. 4 attempts up on his previous best so far.
As Alfa Romeo comes through a very nice corner there, and at turn 7 I want to say this is. He's kind of just taking it as it goes and maximising where he can, but doesn't want to risk too much as he hasn't really set the best of laps. But it might be best if, I mean, I would say Riley's going to knock him out maybe. If he gets knocked down outside top 10, I think that's where you would rather start in my opinion, with only 14 drivers.
I've seen quite often starting in 11th place can be good, especially if it allows you to start on a fresh set of tyres. He got it wrong slightly there coming through turn 14, just ran wide.
Doesn't cut the corner, has to let off the gas there a bit. Coming in under the, well, through the tunnel, under the stands. I mean, it's one of the most cinematic circuits on the game, which is, it's quite good in that aspect, because the amount of lights and, I mean, all the, he sets a 39.3, puts him up to P9.
1.8 second improvement, and wasn't even the cleanest lap, so if he'd got a clean lap, could have easily seen him improve ahead of possibly even Sam. So seeing everyone go out on these medium tyres at the moment, expect some big improvements.
Well, I'm watching Boris, and now had it in medium for a second on his lap, but he's really gunning for it through this final sector here. And this is actually looking like a very, very clean lap from him. He comes through the final corner, chucking the car in. This reminds me of kind of Pinnacle Tier, and he goes P2 with a 36.5. We could see.
I'm going to retract my earlier statement. I think Peter Parker, he's going to have to set a better lap time if he wants to stay on pole position at the moment.
I mean, that was a very good lap. He was chucking the car right in, he got it perfect. That is the way Prestige's drivers race as well. They just literally, fast as you can, shove your wheel in around this track and you'll make it. That was a beautiful first sector there from Boris, and I want to see more than that, well, more from him in the race. As EVR Sam at ST Mats are also on laps. AB has got none, but let's watch ST Mats. He's the furthest in his lap out of anyone at the moment, as he comes into the final sector now, getting a nice entry, maximising the exit, has it in high here, make sure he finishes his lap with ERS. Still has it in high, puts it up to hot lap, locks up on the right a bit, but it won't affect him that much as it was before the corner. coming through the final corner. What can the McLaren do? Can he beat Boris's lap? No, he doesn't. He falls short with a 37.4. Not the best lap from ST Mats. What about EVR Sam as he comes through? I don't know what that corner's called now. Over the bridge, into the hairpin, into first gear, and shifts up to, well, I usually keep it in 6th gear. Giving you a nice turn into the final sector. The Red Bull looking very nice, and Sam's fully black helmet, it seems, with a little bit of blue. It's come through the final few corners now. Under the stands, somebody set a lap. Gazaman with a 38.6 on the mediums.
Qualifying is finished now, so checkered flag.
As Sam comes around the final corner. Can he do it? He goes P3 with a 36.9. That's not going to stick though, I don't think. With Azimatter getting a nice toe there from ST Mats, and now he makes his way down to the final sector. What? Whoa! What can the Merc driver do? Is I have an insane voice crack as always when I get excited. But
he's 1.4 seconds up at the moment, so if he finds 6 attempts in this final sector, which is possible, we saw Boris do that, he could challenge for pole position.
Here he goes through the final few corners. Now into the second last one. Doesn't really maximise how much he could have taken off the corner, but he comes into the final corner. What can the man do? Azimatter sets invalidates, I think.
Yeah,
invalidated.
Just slightly behind as well. It was only hundredths off. Nexus Iceman, he's 1.3 seconds up on his personal best, so I think Pizza Parker will have done enough for pole position, but he's starting on those soft tyres. Can Nexus get onto the front row of the grid? If he keeps it clean, I think he's got a great chance.
One thing I know about Iceman is he, in time trial, he is with or faster than some of the 2 championship contenders. And he goes pole with a 35.9 on the mediums. That's a very nice lap there from Next Iceman. That is a pinnacle lap there.
He starting 2020 as he left off in 2019. Superb lap from him. Could he be challenged at the start with Pizza Parker starting on the soft tyres, of course?
I mean, that's what Pizza Parker has to do. He has to look at that, right, I'm on the soft, I have to get past him into turn 1. You cannot let this guy get away at the start, because it's game over once he's away.
Yes, Nexus, superb clutch lap there, final man across the line. How often have we seen that in Formula 1? Whoever's last across the line gets pole position. And it's the Mercedes driver and the championship leader who is on pole at the moment. Pizza Parker in 2nd position, then Boris 3rd, Sam 4th, Estimat's 5th, Azimatter and Ivahan 6th and 7th. They'll be starting on the hard tyres. Gilzaman, Foggy and AB in his first race with one hub this season, rounding out the top 10. Riley and Dezaic 11th and 12th, and then Dan and Coxey left the session, and I'm not sure they've been able to get back in yet.
Well, depending on Azimatter and who else was on the hards? Riley?
I think it was Eva Hannon.
Now they have to take the race as it goes. I mean, depending on when the rain comes in, it could mean a lot to their race. I mean, these guys on the mediums could be having to make 2 stops overall, and the guys on the hards might just be able to pit when the rain comes in, extend them to lap 21.
I mean, it all depends on A, when the rain comes, and B, how heavy will it initially come. Will they have to change straight onto the wet tyres, or will they be able to survive on intermediates until the end of the race? We've got 14 drivers in this race. We could easily say 14 ever so slightly different strategies once that weather comes. Nexus, he'll be happy though. He's in a prime position to extend that championship lead. 87 points at the moment, and he looked so good in that qualifying session. And it could have easily been a Mercedes 1-2 if Azimatter hadn't have just ran slightly wide in that final corner. That cost him time and invalidated his lap, of course.
Well, we go as we're getting ready, setting up to the formation lap around Singapore. As well, my camera finally goes to them. I'm just getting my table away, and see now I have like a sim rig and stuff, so I'm having to sit with my chair on the side of my table now, and I don't have that much room.
You drivers will have these fancy setups.
Yes. I feel
that everyone is on.
Oh yeah, let me get this up.
The tyres, so we already knew what the top 10 were doing. It's all mediums in the top 10, apart from Azamata and Eva Annan on hards, and Peter Parker on the soft. And unsurprisingly, 11th downwards, all starting on those hard tyres.
Like I said, I think it was actually tactical from Riley and Zeke there to just not set a lap, not really improve. And I feel like they've got to take that with this race is how tactical are people going to be, because it's so important. You cannot be, as Daniel and UK Coxey will not be able to race now as their cars aren't here. But it's just about Peter Parker. What can he do here? Can he get right in front of next Iceman right at the start here? That's what he has to do. But I mean, it's going to be hard against the title. The title. The title leader. There we go.
Yeah, you won't want to spoil any possible championship contenders. There's a bit of a forcing racing point battle. There we go, the first one of 2020. That needs to be evolved in Formula 1. AlphaTauri better be different colours to Toro Rosso next year completely. I'm sure every commentator in the world will be happy. Advantage of those fresh tyres. We'll have the inside line, obviously going into turn 1, but if not, possibly just getting a good exit through turns 5 using the slipstream to have a go into turn 7. No DRS, of course, for the first 2 laps, so he's going to have to do it on pure pace. If he doesn't get it done in the first couple of laps, he could easily find himself slipping down the
AB
order.
and Riley getting disqualified from the formation lap, obviously making a collision with each other. I did see them running quite close. I mean, I wouldn't be that bothered if I got disqualified from the formation lap, because you don't really heat up your tyres around here in formation lap, because that's when they die. But next Iceman on pole position, can he defend his leader? Will Peter Parker take the position on the soft as they rev their cars as 5 red lights are out and away we go? There's a bad start from next Iceman. Peter Parker challenges him with the softer compound. Down the inside he goes. Peter Parker gets the lead but loses the back end already on the soft tyres, showing how bad they are. And it's allowed EVR Sam to fight for a podium already. And he's on P2, possibly round the outside. This would be a great move, getting the slipstream on next Iceman as Peter Parker's lagging about a bit, and I think it would be smart of Sam to not really battle yet as Peter Parker is really lagging. But he's going to try it round the outside, and there's a squeezer going for it. There's a big tussle, and Peter Parker, I thought he backed out. He's really lagging. Is he lagging for you?
Yeah, quite a lot of lag for Peter Parker. AB has been involved in a spin, and he's got damage, I believe, to the right end plate on his front wing, so we're going to see an early pit stop for him. Such a shame after a fairly decent qualifying on his debut. But next is Iceman. This lag from Peter Parker is just allowing the championship leader to get away. 1.6 seconds already, that gap, and then there's a bit of a queue behind with Sam, Boris and Azamata. Peter Parker's ran wide there. He's going to be on the outside for the next braking zone, but Sam not able to get alongside.
Oh, there we go.
Very wide there.
The tyres are away. The tyres are away for Peter Parker. That's how easy it happens. He's still running in hot lap. He just needs to cool them down. But like I said, you can get so flustered at the start with them tyres as well. As he's almost spinning. There he goes. Oh no, but it's still lag. He comes right into the pits there. Obviously, them tyres dead already. And EVR Sam is in P2. Can he get away from Boris though, who is looking very quick round here? I mean, this will be a battle I'm seeing all race long, is between Sam, Boris and Azimatter. ST Matt struggling to keep up, but Evianen on the hards and Azimatter on the hards more importantly. So they have set themselves up brilliantly for this race.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely dream start for Nexus. 2.2 seconds ahead as Boris challenging Sam. He'll have DRS next time around if he could just stay in range, and they have escaped slightly from Azimatter. Quite a spread out field compared to what we used to after the first lap. Peter Parker, we saw pitting, Dazaic and AB also heading into the pits as well. So only 9 drivers getting through that first lap unscathed. Expect Pizza, Dazaic and AB to stay on those tyres until the rain comes, whenever that one may be.
Well, we've got to look at this. Sam is catching next Iceman. He's caught 2 attempts around this lap. Well, there it goes again on the exit, the hairpin. But does Boris want to make this decision to hold these 2 up, or does he want to use EDR Sam to pull them up the grid? I mean,
Boris, I'd definitely just try and stay behind for now. I mean, obviously, if you get an opportunity in the DRS zone, feel free to take it, but for the rest of the lap, possibly just use it to...
I mean, they're 1.8.
Fuel saving shouldn't be an issue with the weather.
Next Iceman struggling up the top here. He's losing a lot of time to Sam and Boris. If Boris is getting away, well, both of them are getting away from Azimatter on the hards, while ST Matt's also lost a position to them too, I think.
See there, Boris was half a second faster than Nexus on that lap, no doubt helped slightly by the slipstream. DRS is enabled. Will Boris be able to have a go this time around into turn 7 as we're heading now towards that first DRS zone? He looks fairly close at the moment. There goes the flap on the rear wing.
They don't want to battle too much, so Azimatter is right behind them. But here goes Boris down the inside into turn 4. I want to say turn 5. And it's a very easy move. Sam doesn't put up too much of a fight, which is quite smart. They don't want to waste too much time here battling, or next Iceman will get away. And I believe these 2 are quicker, as Foggy, I think, had a moment there in the Williams. I think
he just got it wrong coming out of turn 7, and that's allowed Riley to get ahead of him. Now, can Boris get away? Was he being helped by Sam to keep up with these 2, or will he be able to escape now? SD Matt's getting a 3-second time penalty. How long will these medium tyres last? When will it start coming to people like Azimatter, Evianen and Riley?
It can come at any point.
On these hards.
The mediums can blow up at any point. You don't want to overdrive them, as it is very simple. This whole stint is all about managing the tyres. When you hit if it was a full dry race, when you hit the hard tyres, they are the faster tyres, because you don't have to worry too much about tyre temps. So Azimatter wouldn't be surprised if he is quicker in the next lap, as he is looking to catch these 2.
Could be important for him is when he gets within that 1 second buffer. Obviously, Boris keeping it around 2.2 seconds, and Sam just dropping back slightly. So looks as though the Renault is showing good pace. Evianen into the pits. Can only imagine that's for damage. Only done 2 laps, or 3 laps on those hard tyres.
Damage, yes. I was wondering why he was going quite slow. Maybe he's lost it in the 3rd sector there, and it's tapped the wall. But Azimatter isn't catching, but is sticking with him. So that's, I mean, Sam's just about staying in the 2nd, but any mistake is gonna really take him out the DRS zone.
Yeah, Nexus just got to try and keep it cool up front. Finishing in 3rd place, I believe now, every race for the rest of this season would be good enough for him. He wants to win, of course, keep things looking as good for him if there are any races where he has connection issues or he has to miss the race for whatever reason, or possibly retires, and it's looking good for him so far. 2.2 seconds the lead. Sam just over a second behind Boris at the moment.
Well, as we push on through the Grand Prix, it's lap 4, and the closest fight at the moment is Riley and Gazaman. Gazaman on the mediums, Riley on the hards, and this might show us a little bit of the pace difference between these 2 tyres. If you can tell me what lap both of these 2 set, so if you can tell me Gazaman's lap compared to Riley's.
Yeah, if you have a look at last lap, it was a 1:44.0 for Riley and a 44.5 actually for Gazaman. I mean, the lap before Gazaman was 4 tenths faster. As Eva Hannon has retired from the race, as I say that one of the big title contenders is out of the race. So that is going to make it even better for Nexus Iceman and for Mercedes as well in the constructors, because the sole Ferrari representative is out, and we are down to, well, realistically we're down to just 11 drivers then.
Yes, we are. I mean, ST Mats is in second, I believe, and being P5 behind Americ is not really what he wants to. Well, it's not the position he would like to be in.
Yeah, I mean, last lap, Gazaman set a 43.1 and Riley with a 43.0, so the tyre's pretty even at the moment. Riley just running wide slightly there, coming through turn 9, so not ideal for him. He'll just be trying to keep on his tail because he knows it will come to him more. Boris, so he's closing the gap out front. He's now 2 seconds ahead of Sam, and he's got it down to 1.5 behind the championship leader.
Gazman goes wide there, almost hitting the wall. Riley keeps it clean though.
Yeah, we'll see how like Peter Parker and Dazea, some of these other drivers do as well. Those that had to pit on the first lap, Peter, just them soft tyres, cried it off pretty much straight as soon as he started, and Dazea and AB involved in contact.
Next is Iceman leading at the moment, but Boris catching him slowly, about 2 tenths a lap. So expect this fight to happen around lap 14 after the pit stops. Just depends who's going to pit first, who's going to pit after. Undercut is very good round here.
These top two do seem to have the best pace at the moment. They are escaping from Sam, who's keeping the gap pretty constant to Azamata. Riley closer than he was the lap before on Gazaman. He just ran a bit wide though, coming out of turn 5 there.
Here he comes.
Have a go?
No.
Too far behind at the moment.
Don't get me wrong, these two are catching ST Mats, so that is good for Riley, especially being on the hards.
Yeah, ST Mats seems to be struggling slightly, and I can't see he has got damage though. I believe he's missing the left hand side of his front wing, or he's missing the end plate at least, I believe. So that's going to explain around such a high downforce track why he's struggling, and you can just see him running wide slightly around the hairpin there.
Sam comes into the final sector here, and Azamata really is chasing him down on these hards. Oh, but Azamata loses an end plate there, and that is the hards. Like, I would say that's him just going to lose time now, unless he can adjust to it quickly.
We've seen what it's doing to ST Mats, he's lost an end plate as well, and that's just allowed Gazaman and Riley to close up so much on this lap. If they don't get past pretty quickly, I imagine Foggy will be joining them soon as well. That's ruined it for Azamata, and that'll take a bit of pressure off Sam. These top three will just be hoping to try and keep it clean, and that's the important thing for these to do, and for those who started on the hards as well. Just don't want to pit, especially if you know the rain is coming towards the end of the race. They will have been allowed to change a few things with their setup in Park Ferme, just the front wing angle that they can change, so a bit of a compromise between a qualifying and a race setup, with it being dry in qualifying of course. And that might explain why some of these drivers are struggling a bit, because they're not driving around for an optimum setup for these conditions.
I mean, you would think that the pit stop people might have a bit more pressure than the actual drivers. If they get it wrong, you're out.
Yeah, because the estimates now really holding up Gazaman and Riley. They're coming through turns 11, 12 and 13. Such a twisty part of the track. Gazaman and Riley will have DRS. Just
well,
the nature of this corner.
This is the thing with this track, is as soon as one person makes a move down the inside, more people will come through and follow, because as soon as you go offline, so much time is to gain. But you can just see the lines that Riley's taking. He should be further up the grid, but he isn't.
It'd be so easy to get frustrated, but we've already seen so many drivers lose an end plate. He'll not want to join them. Boris now 1.2 seconds behind Iceman, and they're over 4 seconds ahead of Sam at the moment. So it's very quickly beginning to look as though we could have a two-way battle for the lead, as we're about a quarter distance at the moment. A lot will depend on how long they can get these medium tyres to last, and also when the heavens will open. This Gazaman has got past SD Mats now.
This will give Riley the double slipstream as he comes into turn 4 here. Look at how the offline ST Mats is, and Riley is right up the gearbox of ST Mats, but where can he get the move done? He doesn't have the straight line speed, it seems. But if I was ST Mats, I wouldn't really battle these too much, as you kind of just want to stick behind them and benefit from them rather than holding all of yous up.
Yeah, but Riley just didn't have quite the top end speed of ST Mats. Got the move done though. That has given Gazaman a bit of a breathing space. Just being stuck behind him for that short amount of time cost Riley around about a second. You can see how far off the pace that has made SD Mats. He just doesn't want to pit yet, knowing that the rain's coming. He's only 2.3 seconds ahead of Foggy as well. And Boris, he's now trying to get within DRS range of Iceman. He's just over a second. He's just popped under a second.
Boris is the quicker man round here. I mean, you can tell, I was saying he's driving like a Prestige driver, driving like a Pinnacle driver, when he just chucks the car in and is really just using all the track limits possible.
Yeah, if the tarmac's there and the game's allowing you to use it, you're only going to lose time if you don't. Only one retirement so far, and that was Ivahan, and Dan and Coxie haven't been able to rejoin the session, so they will also be counted as retirements. So only 11 runners in this Singapore Grand Prix. DRS open on the Renault, but too far behind this time around. He's just got to stay with him for the rest of the lap. Of course, Boris doesn't have a championship or anything to worry about. He can afford to be a bit more brave with his overtaking manoeuvres.
Well, we always know Boris is the one that sends it down the inside, looks at the move, but more importantly, Riley is catching Gazaman very quickly in the straight, and he dives down the inside the racing point. Oh, but he loses the back end, he gets so close to Gazaman, coming in too hot, I would say. Oh, speaking of dive bombs, we were talking about Boris, but that was something else from Riley, and it's cost him about 6/10 there. And ST Mats is back within a second. As there is rain. There's rain, I think. I think it's dripping.
Yeah, it's definitely raining.
Unless that's just like, nope, it's rain.
Nowhere near hard enough at the moment to
warrant
a change of tyres. Just how long is it going to be before we get to the cut-off point for those intermediates, and then, as
earlier than expected,
full wet conditions.
So I'm saying it's going to be lap 14 when they make the pit. So the medium runners have to stay out just a bit longer. But yeah, does Boris want to make the move now, or does he want to make it in the intermediate stage?
I mean, definitely, you want to go for it now. Well, I mean, thankfully, we do have a fantastic system that pretty much tells the drivers nowadays when it is ready for the intermediate tyres, and that is when DRS is disabled, which you're not allowed to use it in wet conditions.
It's coming in harder and harder by the minute.
Confidence at the moment, and I wonder if it does come down as hard as we're expecting it to. Will any of these drivers jump straight to the full wet tyres?
It just depends. I mean, it's one of them things where it can happen, but it's very rare. There's usually like 5 laps between each, so you can go out in the inters for 5 and then the wets. It's just like a decision you gotta make. But Boris is losing all the time now.
Interestingly as well, as a matter, he's closing right up to the back of Sam, and I don't think Sam
harder
has
tires,
any end plate damage.
Harder tyres perform better. The harder the tyre is, the faster it is in wet conditions on this game. Boris gets a penalty there.
Getting a penalty, that is how hard he is pushing.
The end of this lap, it's gonna DRS disabled, I'm saying, by the end of this lap.
Riley's managed to close up to the back of Gazaman and they're getting very close. They go under
Sam needs to keep Azimatter behind him just now before the pits, but the sector 3 and it's Foggy. Foggy's round, struggling in the wet conditions.
So he could very well be the first person to make a change onto intermediate tyres with a lot of end plate damage, dropping behind Pizza Parker, Gazaman in the pits. This can only be for intermediates.
And here he goes, Gazaman's in, 4 enters, and Sam and Azimatter side by side. Sam's going to hold it around the outside, back down he goes, he just wants to hold the position, but I say wait for the intermediates to come. But I would say pit by the end of this lap and it might work out, it might gain a lot of time.
Foggy, an absolute nightmare on his way into the pits there, 15 seconds worth of penalties for corner cutting and then speeding in the pit lane. He's also putting on intermediate tyres.
DRS
hasn't been disabled yet.
Is it ready? I mean, we'll need to watch. I mean, what's the gap between Gaza and Pizza Parker?
It's currently just over 16 seconds. I'll keep an eye on the sector times, especially next lap around once Gaza and Foggy and Desaic have had a chance to warm up their tyres a bit more. Or we'll see if everyone else has actually dived into the pit slower as well.
They're too slow still.
I mean, no one seems to be struggling too much for lack of grip at the moment. The ball is pushing very hard. Azimatter doing well with the damage. He's now up into 3rd place. And then a huge gap between Sam back to Riley in 5th at the moment.
I mean, it's just around the corner. Just around the corner, the enters.
Yeah, we must be getting close to the crossover point now. Doesn't look to be any severe amounts of spray at the moment. Boris closer than he's ever been to Nexus within half a second at the moment. And there's a bit of traffic up ahead at the moment. I believe that is Desaic.
I'm saying when Nexus Iceman made that little push and got Boris away for a second, then I think he's maybe just overheated the tyres for a sec. Desaic says well out the way of the two. But there's no really need to do that. He is on. I think he's retiring. Yeah. I mean, there's no need to do that as you do kind of ghost now. It's always helpful to do it, but especially in a position like that, you don't need to.
Gazaman was 5 seconds slower in the second middle and then 5 seconds slower in the final sector than the leader. So it's definitely not at the crossover point at the moment. But if you are needing to pit for damage, you might save yourself more time than having to pit twice. We'll just have to wait and see. It is a very long and slow pit lane here at Singapore, only 60 kilometres an hour.
Boris really he wants a position now, not later. But the rain is coming down hard, and it's just about time. It's just there. 4 enters, but not yet. The amount of time the guys have lost now.
Harder, but in first sector for Boris this time 32.4 compared to a 29.6 last time around.
Well, let's watch AB because he's behind these 2 leaders now. Yeah, he's a lap car, but if I see him catching.
Plus the other problem is if it's not wet enough at the moment, then he's just going to overheat these intermediate tyres.
Oh, there's spray. He's went wide, but there is a lot of spray.
Does seem to be getting a bit harder. Desaic.
Yep, here they come.
Desaic's damaged his front wing, so he's gone off track. He's back into the pits. SD Mats and Riley coming in.
It's time now. It must be, because the track's shiny. There's spray coming off the tyres.
I still think some of these guys could get away with another lap or two, staying out on those
I know, but this is where the mediums flop. But Azamat's struggling. And he was catching these two quite quick, but now he's lost all.
I mean, Gazaman's last full lap was 2 minutes compared to a 1 minute 50 for Nexus, although this looks as though we're being a much slower lap. So, and you see how much Azamat are struggling at the moment. I think you might be right, this might be the lap to come in for all these front runners. Say at the moment they're still about 2 or 3 seconds quicker being on with slick tyres, but that will not be the case next time around.
There we go, it's DRS disabled, here they go, into the pits. They must go, E-I-E-I-E-I-O.
So the Nexus and Boris just avoiding the back of him.
I have a little song there, who will win in the pit stop battle? Oh. Okay, on my screen, next Iceman gets stuck. Is anyone? I think Riley has benefited the most on these inters.
Yeah, I think Gazaman definitely pitted too early. I mean, we saw he was just behind Riley when he pitted. He's now 22 seconds behind him, and that just shows getting it wrong by just 2 laps proved to be all the difference. Dazaex had to pit for a second time. I think it's his total 3rd pit stop of the race. He had to pit with damage on his front wing. He is now a lap down and in 11th place.
How's that happened?
Did Azamata did have front wing damage, so I imagine that's just the change of the front wing. Nexus seems to have gained a bit of time there, so he's now just over a second ahead of Boris. Now, will the rain get heavy enough to warrant wet tyres towards the end of the race or not? And if not, can anyone make these intermediates last until the end? I mean, Estimat's in 6th at the moment. He's gained a bit of time. Pizza Parker 7th. I think he'd have took being 7th at this stage after that disastrous first lap that he had. Gazaman 8th, Foggy 9th, AB in 10th at the moment. Nexus does seem to be doing a bit better on this first lap. Just feeling a bit more confident in these conditions.
Nexus Iceman is in the lead now, but Boris is keeping him honest, which is important for this race. Pizza Parker and ST Mats are about to have a fight, it seems, on track.
Yeah, Pizza closing up.
ST Mats goes wide.
Very deep.
They will give him an exit though.
Of course, do take different lines in the wet, of course. Can get away with it a bit more than you can in the dry, but rain
Boris
definitely seems to be coming down heavier at the moment.
Boris is closing quickly. Now, is it going to go to full wets or is it just going to stay inters?
Pizza Parker has got past SD Mats, who has lost it. SD Mats has got it completely wrong there.
That's his wing damage
to the wing. Especially in these wet conditions, there's no way he's going to be able to get away with that without having to pit very shortly. Gazaman will soon surely find his way past to get back up into 7th position.
So ST Matt's only got about half a lap with wing, and it's already away. And for some reason he got a 3-second penalty there. I
think it was just because he was struggling to keep it on track and ended up cutting over across the pit lane line and earned himself a penalty. We saw Foggy get a 10-second penalty for track limits on his way into the pit lane earlier, which I can only imagine was for the same thing.
It should get deleted though.
Yeah, he will be able to go to the stewards if he thinks that was an unfair penalty. They can rescind most penalties apart from drive-throughs, of course, because of how that affects you on the game. He will come out just behind Foggy in 9th place at the moment. And with, of course, one hub giving a fastest lap point to whoever sets the fastest lap outside the top 10, guaranteed that everyone finishes the race will get at least a point. Nexus and Boris, so you can just see after only just about to head on to the start of lap 16, the two of them 17 seconds clear of Sam. It's been a great job by them so far.
I mean, I think they're just, Boris is really just having, is really just pushing Next Iceman to go fast, as I think he'll usually be just having a chill race at this point.
Yeah, I'm sure Nexus would prefer a much more chilled race. As a matter, not able to close up to Sam as quickly as I thought he would, because he was showing some great pace before the rain came down, even with a damaged front wing. He's about 3.2 seconds behind Sam at the moment. He's
racing for an Iron Brew here.
That's all the motivation you need, surely.
Surely, a big Scottish drink. Nice Iron Brew. He says it tastes like bubblegum, but I mean, I'm a bit, doesn't it? But, whatever he says.
Thinking back, it has a bit of a bubblegummy taste to it.
Yeah, I do get where he's coming from.
Sector 2, I'm not sure who that was for.
I mean, I don't know who it's for, but I mean, Iron Brew is more important, so. But yeah, I see where people come from with a bubblegum taste, but it's not like it's not like a pure bubblegum.
There's a hint of bubblegum. And whatever, Iron Brew tastes like Iron Brew, and there is no other way to describe it. I think Azamata must have heard that there is an Iron Brew on the line here, because he suddenly found a burst of pace after I said he's not catching up to Sam as quickly as possible. He's got the gap down to under 2 seconds, so that could be a battle shortly. Nexus and Boris, the gap between them staying around about a second. Yellow flag in sector 3.
And AB is round, as the leaders just about avoid him there.
AB is round, he has got damage as well to that front wing, so I expect to see him coming into the pits.
Obviously, he just needs to stay out, because it's saying that like Daniel and UK Cox are like out, but they're not. So you might as well just race anyway, because you're gonna get point.
Yeah, they will of course get the point for being, if he finishes in 11th place, then you are guaranteed that point for getting the fastest lap at the moment. That's if we don't have any retirements, of course. Boris keeping Nexus Iceman honest, just over halfway through this Singapore Grand Prix. Nexus, Boris and Sam, the top three at the moment, as this rain seems to be coming down heavier and heavier. I'll have a quick look at some of the lap times that these drivers are setting. Around about 155, 156 at the moment. Not really getting any faster or getting any slower, so these intermediates could last till the end, as long as they don't wear out too much.
It's not a B-Tech Fanta. Iron Brew is nothing like Fanta. That's a disgrace. It's nothing like Fanta, man. Fanta's orange. I mean, Iron Brew is orange, it's colour, but it doesn't have that kind of flavour like that.
Drama in the VRT team here.
Yes. Not happy.
Some stern words later on.
It says it's a B-Tech. No, it's not. I'm fuming. Call Iron Brew a
welcome
fan.
viewers to Angry Scotsman going on about Iron Brew. As the Singapore Grand Prix continues in the background.
Well, we're waiting for Boris Azimatter to do something in the race, but they're kind of sitting back having a look.
Yeah, I think Azimatter and Sam could be the one to watch. A gap now just over a second. Everything else pretty split up. AB getting time penalty there for multiple warnings. He's not too far behind Tazaic at the moment, so that might get a bit more interesting later on, especially if these intermediates begin to wear out in the final few stages, assuming that they are able to keep on them for the rest of the race.
I bet, yeah, you buy it. I bet it's nothing like a B-Tech bloody Fanta. Oh. As it's really, the rain is coming down now. It looks like full wet conditions at this point. I mean, could we see another pit stop here?
I mean, it could be worth it, especially for anyone like Dezaic or AB further down the field to just go for it if they feel confident enough. Maybe even
Gazaman, I would say Gazaman.
He's done the most tyres. He's done the most laps on these intermediate tyres as well. So if he feels towards the end of the race as though he's not comfortable on those intermediates, just going on the wets, just because. But if it's not wet enough, we've seen before, just you have absolutely no grip, and you might as well be out on slick tyres, and you are going to end up in the barriers.
I'm not happy. Beat it, Fanta. Oh, nah, man. Make sure to go check out the Precision Tier live stream as it has just begun. I think we have. I don't know who's commentating that today, actually.
I think it was meant to be. I think it might be Owen and Odems, I believe.
No, I'm sure they're Pinnacle.
No, Owen and Odems.
Yep, Owen and
I think
Odems.
Cam will be joining them in the box as well.
3 people in the commentary box? Oh then.
It's a pretty big box here in Singapore.
It's a pretty big box.
Like, thankfully for us, the box is out of the elements. Otherwise, we'd be getting pretty wet at the moment. As a matter now, within a second of Sam, is he going to be close enough to do anything? Not this time around. Yellow flag in sector 3.
It looks like it might have just been a half spin from somebody. I think it was AB. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm getting a bit of leak in right now in the box. It's not very. Oh, it's freezing.
Pretty cold. Pretty cold.
Pretty cold in the one hub commentary box.
Iceman keeping pretty cold at the front of the field though. Probably he gets it down to about half a second, but he's just not able to get close enough where you'd really be able to overtake. That seems to be the case with Azamata and Sam as well. So one Mercedes doing an excellent job of defending, and one Mercedes having an excellent defending job being done on him at the moment. Still just over 12 laps to go. Lap times are staying pretty consistent in the high 155s, low 56s for Nexa. So as the fuel's burning off, the tyre is wearing slightly, of course, but it's not affecting them too much at the moment. So I think intermediate's still definitely the tyres to be on at this stage in the race.
Definitely. I mean, it's just a matter of if the rain does get heavier, do people really want to make the switch? I mean, depending on what lap, of course. If it came, for instance, in the next 2 laps, and yeah, the switch would be worth it. As I almost fell, that was close. It would almost be worth it. But if it came in lap 27, would it?
I think the only times people are going to pit, unless, like you said, if it absolutely throws it down now and there is no way they can stay on track on the intermediates, and yes, they will pit. Perhaps maybe if someone has a bit of damage, or they feel as though the intermediates have just worn out too much towards the end of the race, then they might risk going onto the wet.
Sam and
Azamata are battling. Exit of the hairpin there. Azamata's going to have the oh, he's on the outside. It's not at the hairpin, sorry. It's at turn 9 and 10. Round the outside, some contact between the two of them.
Sam's trying to hold it. Azamata giving him space, but it's some contact. And
in the end,
no iron brew for Sam. He's giving up the iron brew.
I can only imagine there was a slight mistake there from Sam, because it looked as though he was doing a pretty good job, and that is not a conventional overtaking place at turn 9. But Azamata has got the job done now. Up into third, getting that final podium slot. It's looking very good for Mercedes in the constructors at the moment, but he is a huge 22 seconds behind his teammate at the moment, and he's still keeping Boris just at arm's length at the moment.
I mean, one mistake from Iceman and it's game over. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we've seen in these conditions how easy it is. If you just make a slight mistake, you could easily lose your end plate. Especially if you're doing it at the start of the lap, you could find yourself having to go all the way around, back towards the pit lane. You could drop a long way down the order.
Now can Sam show how much it wants this Iron Brew, or is he just gonna give it up?
Sure, be thinking hopefully that he can get back past towards Azamata. Will that Mercedes begin to escape slightly now? 11 laps remaining, 2 Mercedes with a Renault sandwiched in between them at the moment.
Made the one mistake there into turn 4 and that's it.
Yep, so easily done. Thankfully he's got away without any damage, and a big gap back to Riley. Peter Parker, Geserman spread out as well. Estimats and Foggy, the final 2 cars on the lead lap, and Dazaic and AB just hanging on in there in 10th and 11th at the moment.
Boris, he's not using second gear in the hairpin, he's just using third, trying to hold traction, but I mean he's not. That's where he loses the time. He gets right up to 2 tenths. He's actually pushing Iceman through the hairpin, but on the exit, Iceman goes away, and that's a 5-second. What?
5-second penalty for exceeding track limits. I believe that is now 8 seconds of penalties for him compared to
I think it's
for Nexus.
I mean what he just done there was nothing. A warning at most, but even a warning would be quite strict.
The penalty gods giveth and the penalty gods taketh away, and I think they've taken away any chance Boris had of getting a victory in this race, as long as Nexus just keeps it clean. He's got 8 seconds in hand with the penalties. If he's speaking to Jeff, he might know that that Boris has a penalty. Sam getting a 3-second time penalty as well, and lap time still around the 1:55. So I think we'll probably be intermediates towards the end of the race now. And with the rain being this heavy, that should keep them fairly cool. So hopefully, all the drivers will be thinking at least no need to change them in the final few laps.
So it is, you're right, it's a 5-second penalty overall for Boris, or 8, sorry, overall. Which means, I mean, take 5 off of that, he's got a 3-second penalty, obviously. Which, if he can just get ahead, I reckon he can pull away. I think he's got the pace, but right now I think he's getting held up.
Yeah, Nexus just, obviously he's the first man that's facing these conditions. He doesn't want to do anything stupid, especially if the rain does get heavier. The braking point's getting earlier and earlier.
Personally, I think
the closest Boris has been, but
I mean, it's just a case around here. You just get to wait for something to happen. It's a waiting game. But like I was gonna say, I think when rain conditions come, all your warnings should just be reset. So like you have none.
Got a man in the pits.
Ooh. For wets.
Full wets.
He's trying it.
He did have the oldest tyres out of anyone on still in the race, so now we'll have to see how he does. I believe he was the first man to go onto the intermediates as well.
It's a wet enough.
Foggy coming in as well, so, and took the leaders as well. I think we're all going to dive in here for the full wets now.
Yep.
Yeah, Azamata and Sam, so I'll be very surprised if anyone stays out. And Sam getting himself a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Of course, Boris will have served his 5-second penalty now, so there is no way he can appeal against it.
See, Sam's gained time there in the pits from the Red Bull crew. That's the only thing about being like where Williams, the good thing about being in that Williams car is the pit crew does amazing pit stops. Very big benefit.
Yeah. Foggy, I was going to say running wide now on the wet tyres, but no, just getting out of the way of Boris. I'll get to see, will there be any actual lap time improvement now that they've gone to the wet tyres? we'll have to wait until the end of this lap to see, of course. The times were staying consistent though. It was a 1:55.8 was the last lap of Nexus. You could just SD Mats, I was just on board with him there. He was the only man on the intermediates. He now heads into the pits, sliding a lot, and the main does look to have got extremely heavy. And Pizza Park has come straight back out on a fresh set of intermediates. This is either genius or madness.
I don't know.
And unfortunately for him, I feel like it is going to be the second one.
He's not losing time. Oh, there we go. Yeah, he's going to be losing time. The car won't turn then.
The car just full of understeer. It's almost like the steering wheel's not connected to that front axle. We have to compare these times in the second sector, the first full sector that everyone will do, and see how they're doing now that they've put these 4 wets on, see whether it was the right decision. Gazzaman, he just pitted a lap earlier and he has caught up to SD Matzo.
I mean, it's a case of, well, Boris now is out the fight for first. Sam, can he maybe, so as a matter was better on the enter strategy, is Sam maybe better on the wet strategy? I mean, he's caught 4 times there. 6 times on this lap.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, Pizza Park did a 46.5 in that sector, and that on these intermediate tyres. Pretty much consistent with what he was doing before.
Sam wants Steinberg.
Gazzaman was doing.
Sam wants Steinberg.
Sam wants an iron bro.
Yep, Sam wants an iron bro.
The time seemed pretty consistent.
Oh!
Sam's lost.
Sam does not want an iron bro.
Sam wants new underpants after that save. Fantastic job to keep it out of the wall, and Pizza Parker coming in again for the wet tyres. I think he could have held on, you know, and this might put him under a bit of pressure to SD Mats and Gazzaman for that 6th place.
No, he's fine.
Yeah, Pizza Parker in there and getting out well clear. The gap at the front, 3.6 seconds, but of course Boris has served a penalty. As you can see, he's slightly better off than he was before that pit stop period.
My PC almost just fell, so that would have been great.
That would not have been ideal. As a matter with a bit of free air. Just a quick reminder that this stream, as with all the One Hub streams, is sponsored by Next Level Racing, where you can get yourself all sorts of gaming seats and gaming rigs, and you can use the code ONEHUB10 to get yourself 10% off, especially if you didn't get one for Christmas. What a great way to start 2020 by getting yourself a new piece of kit.
No, you see with One Hub, well, are you, as an admin, as ST Max almost puts it in the wall, nice save, are you entitled to have race premium if you're an admin?
I do not know.
Because I see all the admins have it, I'm sure. Unless I'm missing out on somebody.
I'm fairly sure they've all paid. I mean, it's only $9.99. Pizza Park is getting another 10-second penalty for exceeding track limits. Very rare we see them, and we've seen quite a few today in this race, so especially in these wet conditions it's causing trouble, and that could put him after penalties into the clutches of
Boris is catching Iceman so quickly right now. The gap was 4 seconds coming out of the pits. In the space of 2 laps it's shot down.
Yeah, especially remember he served that 5-second penalty in the pit lane. I mean, last lap was a 1:58.6 for
did he?
Nexus.
I didn't know he did. I didn't think it was one of them.
Well, I'm only assuming he did, just because when he came into the pit lane, he was right on the back of Nexus. When he came out of the pit lane, he was about 5 seconds behind.
I think he get held up. Oh wait, no, it wouldn't be possible. Unless where's AB on track? I think AB might have been with him.
Maybe. I mean, if he did get held up, that is a shame for him. If he didn't get held up, and
But he's just gained six tenths in this lap. He's flying at the moment. It must be the quickest man in the circuit. There's a 5-second penalty for Sam. Is that in the same place? It is. It's in the same place where Boris got his.
Sometimes the game's not always the most sensible, you could say, with the penalty decisions, but it does seem to be fairly consistent. So I think once you've got to find out through time trials and stuff where the game will let you cut corners a bit more than others, and that could cost Sam, and it may have cost Boris, so that he's got it down to within 1.5 seconds. He's loving these wet conditions.
And he wasn't the best on the inters, but like I was saying, you have to be about a second faster to make a move around here, and I mean he's looking about more than that.
Yeah, how much of this is Nexus perhaps just taking it a bit easy? I mean, he doesn't. If I was Boris, if I get close enough even for a bit of a wild lunge, I'm going for it, because I've not got a championship to worry about. Nexus has. Nexus is going to have to be. He's going to be a bit more.
If Boris wants to win this race, he has to, in hindsight, he has to get the move done now, and at least get 3 seconds in front, because I reckon he can get that 5-second penalty taken off of him. Because I don't think that was sick, because where he had done it in this corner right here, and he just went over a bit too much, and it being wet conditions, it was very early in his inter stint.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see for that. He is keeping it, he's got it within a second now.
So he's gained
Sam
7 tenths.
Was closing earlier slightly, but after that slight spin, he's dropped back behind Azamata, so you'd imagine the Brazilian, on track at least, safe for that final podium slot. With 5 laps to go, the gap for the lead is down to just 3/4 of a second.
Coming into turn 1, turn 3 now. I don't know if that little right-hander does count as a corner, I'm not too sure. I'll need to see. Can't say I have it here.
I think it does, yeah. I think we're on like turn 5 now, and he's far closer than he has ever been at the moment. If Nexus is taking it a bit easy, he needs to stop doing that. Yeah, it does. Pretty damn soon.
Well, Boris is right down the ERS right now, compared to the next man, but when you're in wet conditions, it doesn't really matter. You can't really benefit from it.
Oh, Foggy's out of the session. Foggy has spun it and lost it.
You said it might come down to 10 drivers, and it has, sadly. I would like to see a few more show up today, but honestly, it might be in a different race if Daniel and Coxie could race.
Yeah, shame for them that they were unable to get in after some connection issues.
I know there's a glitch at the moment with F1. I don't know if they've sorted it, and I don't know if there's a rule. If you lag out mid-race, you can come back in, and corner cutting rules don't apply. So you can cut all the corners.
That would be very interesting. I imagine that's something that, if it's not been patched, will get patched fairly quickly.
Well, it's been a thing for a few weeks now. It was before Christmas, that was the thing. Quite a while before Christmas, and I think it may still apply. I'm not too sure though.
Just taking a risk. A safety car.
Oh, that's huge. Sam's Iron Brew is on the table once again.
It's whether the safety car gets in early enough. I mean, Foggy's crash was a while ago, so I'm quite surprised that has happened. And this just allows the track, of course, to get even wetter. The rain absolutely bucketed it down now. And not only that, this
Iceman's jinxed it. Drive through penalty for Sam.
So he's
wait, how does that
happen?
Drive through penalty, speeding in the pit. Was that him?
Speeding under the safety car.
Oh. He has bottled his Iron Brew. It's official.
Not only that drive through penalty, he will get added on at the end of the race once all the field have closed back up. So that is going to cost him a chunk of places. So a bit of a disaster for Sam. And all of a sudden, Boris might have to go on the defensive because he's going to have Azamata not too far behind. Riley coming into the pits now.
Wait, so Sam's had... This is how his penalties have went, right? One penalty in the medium stint on the final lap of it, which was just warnings, right? Then he's had another penalty, and then the lap after he got that penalty, he got the 5-second penalty. Then he got another 5-second penalty, and now he's got a drive-through.
Definitely been keeping the stewards busy. Riley coming out, taking that opportunity to put fresh, wet tyres on, knowing that he will, with everyone going around slowly enough, and this safety car could easily take until the end of the race.
No,
by the time everyone's caught up,
it'll go to 30.
We could only have a one-lap shootout here for the Singapore Grand Prix. This could get very exciting.
This is not what Boris would have wanted, because Boris had to get past him and make a gap.
Midnight here saying that Sam should have pitted straight away. I'm not sure he'd have got away with doing that under safety car conditions.
No, he had a gap.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether the game would then count that as serving your penalty, because obviously in Formula 1 you aren't allowed to serve penalties under the safety car. With 3 laps remaining here. As you can see, the top 3 coming across the finish line now, with Sam not too behind.
Sam's just
Riley's still Riley's still got halfway around the track to go.
I know, but maximum it goes is like 3 laps. So 30 will be the maximum. I don't see the race finishing under safety car condition. It might have actually been, I don't know if it's a thing in this game where it might have just been that wet that the safety car had to come out.
I mean, I know there is a extreme wet weather condition that you aren't able to choose that is heavier than the heavy rain, and I think judging by how wet it looks at the moment, I'd say we are in that. Whether that triggers a safety car in the game, I am not too sure. If it does, it's almost certain that it's not going to dry up enough before the end of this race, and the race will finish like this, but we will have to wait and see.
I mean, it's just I just wonder if that is why it's came out.
I mean, it is quite possible. As a matter, he has a 3-second penalty, as does Boris, so at the moment the top 3 would stay as they are, and if the safety car comes in this lap, we are going to have 2 laps left. Gotta say, it's looking pretty good for Nexus.
Definitely another win, 6th win of the season. My bad.
It's just been so dominant all of a sudden. So, yep, safety car in this lap. So we are going to get 2 laps of racing.
Somebody just lost wing. That was Sam. Sam's lost wing damage.
And he's got himself another 5-second penalty.
Azamata slowed down too much.
For a severe collision with Azamata, and
can he bring the car home for the last few laps with that much wing damage? I mean, he can pit, there's a big enough gap.
Yeah, he can pit, and I'm not sure whether he'll have time to serve his penalty as well. And when will Nexus go? He seems to have caught Boris napping quite a bit here. There's got a big gap.
What has happened here? Why are they so split up?
I think they're just waiting, obviously, for the safety car to get into the pit lane. And Nexus got a huge gap on Boris, but didn't get that right. And as a matter, I don't know, did he slow down on purpose to give Nexus a bit of a gap? That's a bit cynical of me to think that, perhaps. But anyway, Sam has dived into the pits, put on a new front wing, serving a 5-second stop-go penalty as well at the same time. So I think that will drop him behind Riley. Boris still all over the back of Nexus with 1 and a bit laps to go. Can he get ahead of him and then get as much of that 3 seconds
ahead? The cars
are
going so
possible?
slow in the pits. It took the safety car forever to get in.
So that has dropped Sam down into 5th place behind Riley.
No,
It's
I'm
a bit of a disaster for him at the moment.
I'll get him some fun now.
Look how close Bovis is to Nexus. Definitely the closest he's been. He's just not going to. He can't see anything in the spray at the moment as he heads into turn 10.
But he's really going for it.
Feisty.
I'm saying hairpin, he's going to go for it, I bet. No, he doesn't. He keeps calm.
Taking a slightly wider line perhaps to get a better exit out of the corner. Nexus seemed to have a bit more traction there, and that should be enough to keep him safe heading into turn 14. So that's enough for this time around. And as a matter has dropped back slightly. So I think 3rd place looking pretty safe for the second Mercedes. It's just, will it be a Renault or the other Mercedes on that top step of the podium? The field fairly spread out further down though, so I don't think we're going to see much more overtaking action. It's just whether Iceman or Boris will take the victory here. I think Boris, he only has 2 points, I believe, so far. 11 points, sorry, so far this season. So this is going to be by far and away his best result. Can it be the full 25?
Sam tends it.
Sam could finish behind Peter Parker here.
No, I'm brew for Sam. Yeah, it was looking good. He was looking for the podium, and no, I am brew.
Nexus again, just be a bit more traction out of that turn 5, and that just allows him to stay ahead. Boris looks better, so much more confidence under the brakes, so I think he's going to give it a go somewhere on this final lap.
It's just not enough time left, and not enough track left, I would say. Unless he gets a good exit and hairpin. Oh, another
top! The back of Nexus. He's gone much heavier this time around. I think
it's a pace difference. I think it's a pace difference that's making that happen. Because he wasn't doing that before, but now he's going for it. He's really he was catching everywhere in the track. I don't think he can really appeal because they won't get the position anyway. In fact, they'll lose 2. The only way I think...
Won't Nexus be too happy about that, because it was a bit pushed to pass, I feel. Luckily for Nexus, he didn't drop behind as a matter. But Boris looks as though he's comfortably going to take the victory out on track, but I think Nexus will easily stay close enough, but with the pace Boris is putting in, could he somehow finish in 3rd, like above 3rd? After all the penalties are applied, we'll wait and see. Well, as a matter of penalty as well, of course. So Boris takes the victory out on track. Nexus will take the win after penalties. As a matter in 3rd place, and then it is a long wait for Riley. I said he was going to go for it somewhere, but I don't think that's quite how he expected it to happen.
Oh, and another 10-second penalty for Sam. But yeah, he's had a hellish end to the race.
Jess asking how people can see in this rain. Judging by how many penalties Sam's got, I'm not sure you can see the white lines anymore. Riley's crossed the line in 4th place.
That was offering Sam and Iron Brew, but I've got to give him a fan now.
Sam with, I think it's 56 seconds worth of penalties there. That is a record, but I've never seen that many.
Well, Gazaman get him.
In 5th.
Gazaman might get him.
Gazaman and Peter Parker are battling over 7th and 8th here, which could very well be 6th and 7th towards the end. I think Gazaman is just going to hang on out on track.
Gazaman gets Sam as well.
I don't think Peter Parker did though. I think he had some unserved penalties as well, so...
That's brilliant. No, I'm blue for Sam.
Another brilliant drive from Nexus. Boris tried, but Nexus soaked up all the pressure pretty much until that last lap where there was a bit of contact between the two of them, but he stayed comfortably within that 3 seconds to take the victory. good job from Azamata as well to get third place. It's looking very good for Mercedes in the Constructors' Championship. And you've got to say it is definitely when, not if, Nexus Iceman will be crowned the Podium Tier champion.
I mean, I just can't believe Sam. What if you're saying 56? He needs to change his car number to that. Let's see.
56 seconds worth of penalty.
He needs to change his car number to that. Unless does an F1 driver use that?
No, don't think so.
Okay, he's getting used that. I've never seen that many penalties before. Peter Parker with 33 seconds.
Yeah, no doubt, just because of the torrential conditions. Nexus, though, and Dezayek, the only two drivers to keep it clean, and that got Nexus the victory. Boris second, Azamata third, Riley, Estimat, Guzman, Sam, Peter Parker, the rest of the drivers that were on the lead lap, and Dezayek and AB, the final two finishers.
So
Boris will get the fastest lap.
After a great race here at Singapore, it's one of them tracks where you never know what it's going to offer, and luckily today we got quite a good one. But let's get to driver of the day. I'm going quick and easy. It's got to be Boris for me.
Yeah, you're going, but I'm gonna have to go for Nexus again. He kept clean. He got the victory. I know it's the easy, predictable choice, but that is what I'm going for. Sam is saying he's definitely going to try and get some of these penalties removed, and if they're all as harsh as that 5-second one, he may have a chance. I'm going to try and do some quick maths to try and work out the championship at the moment. It's 102 points. The lead Nexus has. Just 6. There is oh God, you can't do it next time out in Russia, but I'd say it's very possible that the rates after that he could possibly get the championship sealed up after Japan. Especially if he keeps up this form.
Definitely, I mean it's just a matter of time, really. Well, I think we're going to end the stream there. After a very exciting race with at least the top two. Sadly, we had a few people retire. Sadly, we had people have too many penalties in the end. And most importantly, Sam did not achieve the Iron Brew today.
Yeah, we'll have to see if the stewards make any changes. It is the precision tier on now.
Make sure to go watch that. Owen and Odems, the return of Odems for commentary, and One Hub. It's nice to see him back, the lovely American / Irishman. But that is us. And we'll see you next week around Russia.